corporate recruiter here to review your resumes. The resume we have up first is a Java backend developer. Now, I want to let everybody know I do more than tech, but tech right now is in a dumpster, and that dumpster is on fire. And that dumpster that is on fire has been kicked into the ocean, and somehow it is still on fire. So most of the resumes I get are tech, but I do non-tech resumes. So what we need in the qualifications for a Java backend developer are Java, Spring, Spring Boot, SQL, RESTful APIs, microservices, OOP, Git, other APIs, Maven, Cloud, Architecting, SDLC, MongoDB. Also, I think you could probably replace architecting with systems work now. I think systems work has sort of superseded architecting. It's still the same thing, but that's just what they call it. Hibernate, Docker, Kubernetes, and extra credit for the rest of that stuff. So recruiters only have 20 seconds to find what we need. If it goes longer than that, we cannot move forward with your resume. So can I find this in 20 seconds? I don't know, because they did not tell me the ratio, and the ratio is how you tell how good your resume is. So we start and go. Okay. Okay. Formatting is perfect. Worked in a company, contributed to features and tools, maintain server applications, Linux run. Okay. Java. There it is. Spring Boot, production relays, configured, Postgres, set it, Redis. I don't need any of this. Microservices is good, and Python, and that's it. Okay, so this is a rejection. The formatting is fine, but the only reason you want to format it, you want your format to look like this, which is my format, which is good, is because we can read farther down in 20 seconds. I was also skimming these parts with my eyes as well while we were doing it. So this is how you do it. This is what it looks like. It's on my website, and it's in the link below. But the problem with this is not formatting. The problem is the bullet points had almost zero things that I needed. I saw Java, and I saw Java Spring Boot, and Kafka was a bonus, but I don't think I saw anything else that I would want. In fact, I didn't even know this was a Java engineer until here. So let me read what this person wrote. They said, I left the ratio as unknown because I recently edited my resume format after seeing some of your videos. You did that perfectly. The formatting is not the problem. Keep the formatting. This is good. I've had zero success with my recent applications using an old format, and I've submitted about 50 to 75 with that resume. Yeah, that's not enough submissions in general. Ideally, you should be sending about 50 a week. And again, formatting is important, but the formatting doesn't matter if your bullet points don't contain what we need, and your bullet points don't contain what we need. Do you have any advice on how to keep my bullets concise while still maintaining a format of listing the tech and explaining how it's used? Yeah, you did it wrong, though. I'm going to go into that after I finish reading this. I tried to stick to the format without listing metrics, but still feels like my bullet points are excessively wordy. Thank you in advance. Okay, so you wrote these mostly correct, but you were missing the actual keyword. Now, I will state, recruiters are not keyword hunting, and that sounds paradoxical considering about what I just said. We are qualification hunting. So what a qualification is a keyword, which is a skill that the hiring manager needs, and that could be a soft skill, or it could be something like Java or Python or any of this other stuff. And you need to say what that skill is, how you use that skill, and the reason or result of using that. In addition, you need to show me where you did it, which is why skill sections don't matter, because they don't have the where. So you actually did tell me how. You also did tell me the reason and result. The problem is you actually forgot these. Look, I don't care that you worked on an authentication team contributing to features and internal tools and supporting monthly releases. I want you to state, I want you to combine these, right? I want you to say, created a Java Spring Boot system for our authentication team to contribute to upcoming features using, and then you can put microservices, Kafka, JavaScript, or whatever for the front end. Because right now, I just don't see this stuff, and this is the most important stuff. But I will say, based on how you wrote these, it's not going to take you a long time to actually put these in. This is one of the few resumes that actually can just plug in keywords into these sentences, and it'll be fine. Because that is the only thing you forgot to add. And then the other thing is you want to shrink these. So ideally, you should have between 3 to 8 bullet points. And in each of those bullet points, you need 3 to 6 keywords. That is the goal. 3 to 6 keywords in 3 to 8 bullet points. So this, since you've only been there for a little bit over a year, is way too long. That should not take up the full first page. It should only go down to probably here. Like, I don't even think you need the full 8. Full 8 bullet points. So I want you to just keep this sentence structure, shrink it down, right? You don't need this many bullet points, and just plug these in. It's actually rare that I get to tell somebody that they only need to plug these in. Most of the time, people mess up on not having these, and they write the sentences incorrect. So all you got to do is crunch these sentences together. Developed a Java system using Spring Boot, GenAI, and the OOP and Git to do blah, blah, blah. And then the second sentence will be used or configured our SQL server using RESTful APIs and microservices in a Maven environment. I know what I said was gibberish, and I know that's not how you're going to write it, but that is how the sentence structure should work. Just plug and chug those keywords to make that make sense. And I'm actually really happy I get to tell you just need to put the keywords in these sentences, because it's really rare. Most people don't get that part. But once you do that, you're going to have a lot easier time getting a job. Now, there is one other thing that I noticed, and this is a boot camp. And boot camps are not viewed as highly as a CS degree. So I would, and this is one of the few exceptions, put your education at the bottom of your resume. That is what you should actually do. Like you put this stuff here, but it's not here. This is where it matters. So do that. You will get more interviews. And I just want to say thank you all for liking, commenting, and subscribing. I wanted to thank all my members who get access to videos a little bit early. Thank you very much. And if you ever need any other help, you can join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST at twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. And let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a director of logistics. So directors, they actually don't want to necessarily use this format. This is one of the few people that they don't want to use this format. There is another format that works that I call the 3-bucket resume, which is just really difficult to actually teach, though, unfortunately. I can show it to you real quick. But this is how you want to phrase it or write it if you are a director or somebody that is job hoppy or has a lot of contract experience specifically. Because this format just doesn't fully work for that type of resume. It's not the worst, right? Like, it's not like if you're going to use it, you're going to instantly get rejected, but there are slightly more efficient ways. So, what we need for a director, and directors are a little bit different in that they usually are focused on 3 key things. The scale of what you did. So this will be team size, budget, company size, were you global, cross-functional, that kind of thing. The overall industry itself, so for logistics, it could be like the FDA, ISO, GMP, that kind of stuff. And how you scaled, grew, and influenced the company. Those are sort of the 3 buckets, which is why I call it 3-bucket resume, that directors fall into. So for that, a director of logistics, what we want is logistics, supply chain, transport. This would be industry. Industry rules and regulations. So again, industry, Microsoft Office Suite, and ERP NetSuite. You probably do want to have that on your resume somewhere. And this is the track record of success of how you succeeded and the result. This is the growing and scaling and changing the company. Hiring, firing, and developing teams, same thing. Cross-functional, and then the scale of what you worked at is budget, team size, and then influencing and changing the company. So those are what we're going to break it down to. So again, it's going to be industry, which includes, I'm going to put MS Office in there because that one kind of doesn't fit anywhere else. So industry stuff, how you grew and changed the company or scaled it. They're all the same. And basically the nuts and bolts of your team size, its budget, how you succeeded with that, how you got them to succeed, not you succeeding, right? I don't want to see that you did it. I want to see that you were such a good manager that your team did it. So, can I find that in 20 seconds? I don't know, actually. Let me see what this person's ratio is. 1 to 75. So, probably not. My recommendation is for everybody to apply to about 50 applications a week. Because 50 applications a week at a minimum with a bog standard average C- resume will get you 1 interview a week. Now, there are exceptions to that because there's exceptions to everything I say, and directors are one of them. Directors are not going to be able to find 50 applications a week. You will not be able to do that. So their 1 in 25 is equivalent to somebody else's 1 in 50. So this is probably a bad resume, and I'm not going to be able to find what I need because they have a 1 in 75. So it's probably worse than normal. I hope that made sense to everybody. All right. And go. A street leader, professional. Okay, kind of into teams. Fintech. Can't use anything here. Serve as a key interface between clients and engineering training complex requirements of scalable technical supporting clients. See, that one's actually pretty good. Define system behaviors, mortgage loans, ensuring compliance and performance at scale. You didn't tell me how you did it. Led the solution design for contracts. Okay, yeah, this does not work. Let me read what they wrote me, but they do have a pretty solid first sentence, but everything else is not really good. I briefly transitioned to fintech startup after being laid off in January. However, I left that role since I do not like the industry, work culture, or the team. Do not say you do not like the team. So you can say you do not like the work culture. That's appropriate. You can say you did not like the industry. That's also fine. Never, ever, ever say you do not like an individual person. I don't care if you're lying. You never want to badmouth another person in an interview. Whether that be the company itself or an individual, which a company is not a person, but whatever, because they will probably immediately reject you. So never badmouth a previous employer or person on your team. Again, you can say, I did not enjoy the industry. You can say the work culture did not fit me, but never say I did not enjoy working with the team. So I have 10 plus years of experience in supply chain and logistics, and I'm looking for a leadership role given my experience. I'm not getting the attention of recruiters and not hearing back from any jobs I have applied to. Okay, so not hearing back from recruiters is like you don't have the stuff that they're looking for. If any, okay, wow, there's also another critical error that I just found. So I'm gonna do a little side grade because this is for everybody, right? Not just directors. Never, ever, ever, ever do this. This is a giant, giant error. You need the months. You need the months. If you do not have the months under a job, it looks very, very fishy because they think you are trying to give yourself more experience than you have. I'm not saying if that's true or not. I'm just saying never leave those months out. Now, if you worked at the same company for 15 years, the months are fine to leave out. But unless you've got 10 plus years at the same company, you need those months. And that could be 4 years experience or that could be 2 years experience. We don't know because you could have started it in December of 21 and left in January of 25, which would be close to 2 years or 3 years or whatever. So you always, always, always want to put the months in the work experience. You don't need it in the education of the certs, but you do need it in the months. That goes for everybody. That is a real, real red flag. So back to specific stuff. I don't see that you did anything here except for this, which is a fine one. So if anything, you may want to actually just delete this whole experience because you were only there for a little bit. Let's see. So you transition. Yeah, you were only there for a month. Just delete that, bro. The gap is doing less harm than this job is because this looks like you couldn't cut it. And I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying that's just the impression. So you should delete that. You should delete this. And most people don't want a summary. Directors can kind of get away with a summary. The problem is this is way too long and it doesn't tell me the stuff I need, right? So now we're actually going down to here. I have there's so much wrong with this that I couldn't even get down to this, which is where the bulk of your experience is. So re-architected, what does that mean? Global fulfillment strategy, consolidated from 4 providers to 1 in less than 12 months. Why does that matter? That is too technical. This right here, pretty good. I like it. Understandable. This, not understandable. This is too jargony. You don't want that. Too much jargon. You want to speak slow. Less word good. Okay? Saving $5 million annually, that's good. Again, directors need numbers and salespeople need numbers. Other people do not want to put numbers in their resume. Implemented 500 square facility. Why does that matter? I don't know. To support at B2B. Okay, support B2B. But what was the point of that? Built and managed 10 million CapEx budget. Okay, that one's good. For facility startups and improvements. So like your bullet points are not good. They're on the edge of being good. I want you, okay? CapEx is something you should have. I want you to look at this, and I want you to write it as if you are writing it for a 5-year-old. I don't care if I'm insulting my profession or your previous bosses. We only have 20 seconds to read this. That is too jargony, and there's already too many red flags. They are going to reject you. This is why you're getting rejected. So I need you to rewrite this, right? Instead of re-architected global fulfillment, consolidating, blah, blah. I just want you to say, like, what was that your whole job? Like, I don't know what you did. Like, this is the problem with this, is it's too broad. Built global teams is okay. Don't do this. I don't know why everybody does this. They put what they think is here, and then they do parentheses and put it here. Not parentheses. They put it the 2 dots. My brain is not working today. You don't want to do this. Okay, you need to redo all of these. Yeah, you need to redo all of this. I think this entire resume is basically a wash. So here's how I would like you to write this. So instead of all this, I want you to say, and I'm going to say some nonsense words, but I want you to write it so it sounds like that, is, as the director of our whatever you did, I don't even know, you didn't really tell me, I saved $5 million annually by supporting our B2B expansions, built a 10+ mil CapEx budget, and grew and reorganized a 25-person team from grew and organized a team from X to Y. And then you can have the rest of the stuff be about some of the logistics. That is how I want you to write it, and that is how simple it needs to be. Because right now, everybody is having problems with it. They're gonna lose their mind trying to read this. It tells them nothing. They're gonna skip over this or try to find something and then not find it down here and then decline. Then they're gonna go down here, see you've only been there for a month, decline. Then they're gonna go here and see that the rest of this do not have months, which is why they think you've only been there for a month, and then decline you. And then they're gonna go to these bullet points, which are not, again, these are not good, but they could be a lot worse, and then not find what they need. This is why you're having problems. So delete the resume and start again. You actually, because of your years' experience and how seamless it is, you can use this. This actually is something you can use. That's acceptable. Normally, directors, when they have 20+ years, is at a bunch of different companies. You were only at 3. That's fine. Yeah, you were only at 3 companies, so that's fine, because you're going to delete this, because this needs to be deleted, all of it. Leave that gap. It's healthier than having a 1 month. Since you've only been at 3, you can, use this format. And that's all I can do. But for this one, you may need to jump on the stream for me to help you with this, because there is a lot wrong with this. Next resume. This is, I have no idea. But Lee, you ask, this is a software engineer. You're a tech recruiter. You should know this. I do know this. I know that you need to pick a stack. So for software engineers, like we saw in the very first one, you need to pick a stack. It needs to be backend with one particular language, so Java or Python or C#.net, or full stack or front end. Or maybe an AI software engineer specifically, but that's a different topic. But if you do not pick one of those stacks, or you know what, sorry, there's one or two more, there's mobile devs as well. But if you do not pick those stacks, you will fail. You've already failed, because a front-end developer that is applying to a full stack developer role is not going to have enough qualifications on that resume to move forward. Just as a full stack developer applying to a front-end role will not have enough qualifications. They will have about 50% of what they need, but that last 25% will be the nail in the coffin that will get you rejected. So you need a separate resume for front-end, then you do for full stack, then you do for back-end, and then back-end with a particular language. And this person has probably already failed. So their ratio is 150. They are also, I believe, an H1 on a visa. So their job is extra difficult, and my advice usually gets people in 1 in 7, right? For every 7 applications you send, you get 1 interview. It's more for internationals, unfortunately. It's closer to 1 in 30 to 1 in 100, because that is how tough it is for internationals. And that's with a fantastic resume. So, can I figure out what kind of software engineer this is? That is the real test. Probably not, because, no one else could. That's why they're getting 150 to 1. And go. All right, this is worthless. Where's your degree? Okay, degree. Good. Lead high for streaming of Java Spring. Okay, so it's Java using Lambda, and I don't need like half of this. Why do I care that you reduced costs? Leverage 3L, JavaScript, designed a bot, aggregate. Yeah, this is garbage. This shows me nothing, right? I'm not saying you're garbage. I want to be very clear. Your resume does not define you. It's just a snapshot of your career. Your resume is bad, though. This is one of the reasons why. So first off, you got to delete all of this. There's nothing here that's really salvageable. I would say I'm going to make a guess that you are also a Java engineer. I don't know if that's the case or not. But I think it is, because I saw more Java than anything else. So I'm going to bring back the Java engineer qualifications, because that's how you need to write them. Like that. Well, how the first person wrote them was wrong. The formatting was right, but they still only needed the plug and chug. You don't have any of those. This is actually a very good, like, what has gone wrong, because most people write resumes like this. Led the migration of high traffic streaming web services from Java. Okay, so far so good. Formatting's awful, but at least this is so far. Spring, MVC, don't care about that. Monolithic backend to a serverless AWS. I do care about AWS. And architecture using API gateway and Lambda layers, reducing operational costs by 40% from 50 to 30K. Why is this relevant? I have never, ever in my life seen a job posting for a software engineer that states you must reduce the cost by X. I've never seen that. You don't need to put that. This percentages is making it harder to read your resume, and that's bad. And then nothing else here. So you know what I know from this? I know that you used AWS and Java Spring and API, and that's it. Which, 3 things, that's good. But I don't really know how you use them, because you didn't really tell me. It's too technical. And that's it. Then down here, engineered a secure browser log system up leveraging S3, which is something of AWS, which is nice to have, but that's really, again, a nice to have, not a critical. Signed URLs for custom JavaScript. I'm not looking, is this full stack? I don't know why that's necessary. Consent enabling log sharing, reducing resolution time. Again, none of that is needed. None of that is necessary. This entire sentence could be deleted. Design an intelligent bot. I'm not looking for intelligent bots. I'm looking for Java developers. Transform Windows pipeline to CI/CD. There's something I actually care about, and nothing. So in this entire thing, you have told me that you use AWS and S3, which could be a qualification. AWS is, S3 is going to be like a nice to have. You've used APIs and Java and CI/CD, which isn't even on there. It's an extra credit. So yeah, there's nothing here I need. Like, this is the problem you are having, is this is so generalized, and you are trying to show how good you are and how much you reduce the costs and how clean and excellent your code is. And I'm telling you right now, bro, the people that are reading your resume, both the manager and the hiring and the recruiters, they don't care about that. They care about this. If it's not this written in a how, a what, a how, a reason, a result, they don't care. And that reason or result should not be numbers. Managers and directors and salespeople, they can put these numbers in. They need to put these numbers in. But if you're a software engineer and you're putting in these percentages, you've already failed. Nobody needs to see that. The only exception to that is if you need to show leadership for some lead software dev positions where you will put in the team size. That's it. Because we don't want to see the numbers otherwise. The numbers make it worse. And then we go down here, architected, okay, cool. GraphQL, not one of mine. I think I'd want this if it was full stack or Python, but not Java. Spring Boot, yeah, nothing. You need to delete this and start again. I need you to make your resume look like this, right? And I want you to put sentences about how you use this, right? I want you to say, created a streaming web service using Java, Spring Boot, SQL, RESTful APIs, and an AWS environment for our company to do X. That would be a fantastic bullet point that alone could get you some interviews. Then the next sentence should be used OOP, Git, SDLC, and Docker and Kubernetes to create a blankety blank, right? That will get you a job. This will not. This is one of the reasons you are struggling. And as an international, you have a tougher fight than anybody else. I'm sorry, even with a fantastic resume, you are still in a really, really, really tough fight. But this resume, even if you were in the US, if you were a US citizen and you did not need sponsorship, you would still get rejected for this because there's nothing in here that they need. Next resume. This is an AI engineer intern. So this person has a 1 in 100, which is not good. And what we need for an AI intern is degree, basic knowledge of AI and tech stack. So in this case, language, library, SQL, cloud, AI, a little bit of AI. Like a lot of people overdo it. Like they throw the whole thing in AI, but what they do want to see is some basic coding as well. So it's really going to be, and I probably should have changed that. It's going to be like a basic language, probably backend based. So Python, Java, one or two of its things, SQL, and then some AI as well, right? PyTorch, machine learning, that kind of thing. Then as an intern, you also have to show how you take direction and criticism and the ability to work well with others. That is critical for bachelor level interns. If you do not show that, you have a drastically reduced chance of getting an interview. You need to show that because this is your first corporate experience. They want to make sure you're not going to crash out. So 20 seconds on the clock. This is a 1 in 100. So I am expecting to find some, but not all of what I need. And why is this not working? There we go. And go. Okay. Contributed. Contribute is a bad word. What is this? Okay. Hugging Face, good. PyTorch, Lambda. Okay. Cloud Run, too much word. Led data set, don't care. Evaluated model and hyperparameter, not relevant. Additionally developed an AI-powered outreach engine, link chain. That is relevant. And declined. So, let me read what you wrote, but there's a couple of problems I have with this. One, contributed is a bad word. Don't use contributed. That doesn't mean you worked well with other people. That's just, it means nothing. I need to see how you worked with them, right? That is the key part of the how. You cannot just say contributed or worked with. I need to know how you worked with them. I need to know that you met weekly. I need to know that you both went over each other's code and you criticized it and implemented feedback. I need to know that you were meeting with them however often, right? So let me what you're at. Hey, Lee, I sent one resume before, but it was bad. It was terrible. I made changes. I hope it works. So far, I've had 3 interviews out of 300 to 400 applications. Okay, so bad, but some parts are salvageable, which is what I thought. And I passed 2 and I've worked there. Oh, good. Though I haven't applied much with the newer resumes. I'm also transferring to a much better university, which is targeting for Google, but that doesn't matter right now. I don't know if you remember or not, but I texted you on LinkedIn. I get like 4 or 5 messages a day from people on LinkedIn. I already have a bad memory. So once a resume is out of my sight, it is like deleted from my memory. It's just how it works. It's the only way I've been able to stay sane. So here's what I need. 1, this is a bad first sentence. I don't want to see a Quinn 2.57 param. I don't know what that is. That is not necessary. I don't want to see contributed to the team. I want you to restate this as used AI and then tell me if it's ML or NLP, right? Or any of the other types. There's more. Such as Hugging Face, PyTorch, and Lambda for Q&A tasks that was hosted on Google Cloud Platform, parentheses, GCP to save our company money. All right, that's fine. That's what I want to see. Then the second bullet point is going to be something that says work together with our team by meeting with them weekly, going over criticism, blah, 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 that stuff. That's what I need. And then the third one or the second one, you can, whichever, you can use this as the second or third, it doesn't matter. Then I want to see, actually this one's really good. Just say developed an AI-powered outreach agent using LinkedIn, XIAI, and OpenAI. That one's fine. That one's actually really good. Just keep that. You just need to remove the additionally. And then you do need to add one basic backend language. Probably Python in this case. And you should be fine with that first one. And then, yeah, how did you work with the team? You need to tell me. The rest of this is fine, though. Created a fully word scrap using Beautify. This has no relevancy. There's nothing here that I would want to use. So I need a little bit more. And then here, which is your Google Appliance. Yeah. So I need you to remember, you are a smart person. You're working with AI. You could talk circles around most people about this, and you know it in depth. The person reading your resume does not have that time to do that, nor the knowledge necessarily. And that could include the hiring manager too. So I need you to write the rest of your sentences like this, because this is a perfect sentence. So if you write every one of your sentences like this, you tell me how you contributed to the team, how you worked with the team, you will have a much better chance. But if your previous one was getting like really terrible, this one will at least get some, but you still need a little bit more. Also, you really do want to use this format, because this, good format, this, not the worst, but it could be better. Remember, this should be italicized, not bolded, italicized, not bolded, italicized, not bolded, and then this could probably be one line. Next, resume. This is a C#.NET developer. So this person is outside the U.S. And again, I want to state I am a U.S.-based recruiter for everybody at home. I have helped people get jobs in Canada, South America, Africa, EU, UK, and Singapore. That was the last one. So my advice does get people jobs outside the US, but sometimes not everything is going to be 1-to-1 or 100% correct. But what we need for a US-based software engineer for C#.NET is .NET, C#, SQL, Cloud, any of those, MVS, Git, Agile, RESTful APIs, CI/CD, a little bit of front end for some reason. I guess they want a lot of full stack C# developers, cross-functional, DevOps, and ASP.NET. So, can I find this in 20 seconds? I don't know. Let's find out. And go. Okay. This is probably your problem right here. Okay. Maintain a company automation for Jira microservices. Team automate streamline. Microservice written in C# is good. AWS is good. ML and Hotfix C# is fine. There's just not enough here. So here's my problem with this one. Now I do know the EU is different, so this may be a case of my knowledge not being fully translatable, but in the US, if you are willing to relocate, that is a red flag. I know that sounds very bizarre, but let me explain. If you're willing to relocate, it is a red flag. So the reason is companies and entry-level recruiters, and I have done this mistake before when I first started, and newer hiring managers will say, oh, they're willing to relocate. That's perfect. We can, that's perfectly fine. Anybody who has that on is good. But what ends up happening is once they get the job, they go, oh, actually, I don't really want to relocate. I changed my mind. It's not worth it. And they don't show up for the first day. And that happened, I think, twice to me before I wised up to it, is if somebody says they're willing to relocate, it's a red flag. Because the chances are, when push comes to shove, they won't relocate. And I do understand candidates have to do what's best for them, but if you put this on, it's a red flag. Now, what you can do, this doesn't mean you can't ever relocate, but what you need to do is you actually need a very small summary, and you don't even need to say summary, it's just going to be below this, that just says, moving to X by Y date, can move earlier if needed. This proves to the hiring team that even if you do not get this job, you are still willing to move, which proves to them that you are serious about moving. So that is one red flag. I don't know if that's the same in the EU. This, again, I imagine you want to put it up here, right? And I don't know how it works in, working in the EU. Then let me read what you wrote, though. Looking to relocate to Berlin. So in this case, you'd say moving to Berlin by X date, can move earlier if needed. With the old resume, I got 0 callbacks outside of Malta. I applied in Malta to test if my CV was bad, and I got 4 to 5 replies to applications. So yeah, it's not terrible in the place you're going for. The problem is if you're relocating, I imagine this is one of the red flags. The second thing is you have a good chunk of what I need here, but not everything. So let me find what I have. You have C#, perfect, good. I don't see SQL though. Where's SQL? All the way down at the bottom, no one's gonna see that. So SQL, you did not have. I think I saw some cloud. Actually, no, I don't see any cloud. Cloud is very good to have. I don't see MVS. I think I saw Git. Git, I do see. Your formatting is bad though. You should use this formatting. Git, I did see. So that one I can take out. I didn't see Agile, which may not be useful in the EU market. I did not see RESTful APIs. Yeah, I did not see RESTful APIs. I did not see CI/CD. I did not see anything involving the front end. And there's AWS. I see the cloud. There. So you did have cloud. That was good. And I don't see cross-functional. So you have about 40% of what I need. So I need you to fix the formatting. I need you to add some more of this stuff. And I need you to put that you're willing to relocate by X date, because that is a giant flag. Now, I am assuming you already have work authorization to be able to work in Germany, because if Germany works the same as the US, you need the work authorization first before going to that place, before being able to work there. But that's all I can do for this resume. And I just wanted to thank you all for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, and reposting, and all that good stuff. It helps me out. And if you ever need any more help, you can join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST at twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. And I want to thank you very much to my members who get to watch videos a little bit early. Thank you very much. I do appreciate your support. Let's go to the next video.